Hi everyone, welcome back to I am Dad channel. So today the topic is about object oriented programming in Python. So what is object oriented programming? That means that it helps to organize the software, just like the data, the objects or functions or anything. But however, this concept in Python mainly focused on recreating or reusable of the code. That means like the concept is also known as dry, do not repeat yourself. Getting started with class. So for example, when we take a human is the class, but human will be having a lot of objects such as name, and the human will be also having properties such as email address. Also the human will be having methods, that is like to say, send a mail, verify, or verification purpose, a lot of things. So but the main object is, the main part is the class, the human is the class. So first we can see my class. So my class is the class defined, whereas x and y variables are defined. We cannot have a class without anything, whereas we can print the class to see in the console. In the next example, you could see we have created two objects. That means we have created an object to access anything from the class. So whatever we have defined inside the class, we can access. But we can also create as many as objects we need for the same class. This shows to print the object in the same class with two different instances we have made. Whereas we also has printed where the hexa, the code, the hexa refers to the address of the object being stored. We could see it is not the same. Hence, the other example itself shows the object, the two different values we have initiated. So this also proves that both the objects are not equal. So next is the method. What is a method? Method is a function that is defined in a class. So which means it's basically, when you take as a human as an example, a human can send a mail, verify a mail, write a letter, so many more things. Whatever the functions that a human could do is defined as a method. Next in methods, we have defined my second class, whereas we have defined a variable equals to 9, and then we also has defined the method, that is first m, and the method itself is going to print out hello world. So creating an object of the class, and using the object of the class we have printed the variable, and using that also we have printed the method of the class. When we use the method by accessing from the class, that itself is going to print the hello world in the console. Next OP concept is encapsulation. So this is basically like when we take a banking system, we have a bank account. So that will be the class, and it will be having a lot of data members such as account number, balance, and all that. So the variables or the methods would be such as deposit, you're going to withdraw, you're going to get a balance, all that will be the methods of that particular class. So this is all into one class of your bank account. So this is basically about encapsulation. Encapsulation means the internal representation of the object cannot be seen from outside. In the example of encapsulation, we could see we have defined a class named as age, whereas we have having two methods, that is the set and the get method. So set method allows us to set the value for the age attribute, and get method will allow us to retrieve the value from the age attribute. So Zach is the instance of the class age, whereas we are setting as 45 and we can get as the age 45. We can set the age in string value, and also we can print it by getting the age. So this is basically about encapsulation. Next is constructors and attributes. So constructors basically helps to initialize or assign values to a class when an object or a class is created. So in that itself, in a class, we'll be having many attributes, or how class attributes and instance attributes will be varying. So in the example, we could see the class age is defined, whereas init constructor, that is the default constructor which doesn't accept any arguments, whereas it set the age to 20, and then there is a method as print age. We're going to print the age. After creating an object of the class, we are calling the instance method using the object, whereas we can see the console has printed as 20, what we have defined in the default constructor, the age 20. Next example, in the person class, we have defined a parameterized constructor. We have passed name and age as the parameters. We have defined two objects, two instances, P1 and P2. When we print, next is also the addition class which has been defined, whereas we have a parameterized constructor, that is the first and the second number, and then we have a method also as cal. So when we create the instance of the class and pass the values for the parameterized constructor, that is 10 and 20, the addition of it would be 210. Next is attributes. So as we know, when we discussed before itself, a human has attributes. That means the age, also the properties or the email address. So those are the attributes of a human. So species is a class attribute, where when we have created the objects for the class attribute parrot as blue, woo, and when we start printing it, we can access the class attribute, and it is shared by all instance, and it is going to print as blue is a bird or woo is a bird. Also, then we have the name and the age passed to the parameterized constructor, whereas it is going to print the resulting of blue is 10 years old and woo is 15 years old. We can say this blue and woo as specific name and the age, but the same class attribute is being shared among them. Next example, as my class value is the attribute which is defined to class value, whereas we initiate an object as a, and a dot value gives the it prints as the class value. But if we want to change a dot value equals instant value, we are going to print it as the value, that is the instant attribute. So after the instance attribute, we can delete the instant attribute, and still when we print the a dot value, we are going to get the class value. So that ends the WOP concepts part 1. So stay tuned for the next session of WOP concept with inheritance, polymorphism, overriding and all. So see you in the next video. Until then, like, subscribe and share for more videos. Thank you and have a great day.